Have you ever tried to learn something new, but you gave up along the way because either you got overwhelmed and confused, you couldn't find good resources, or you just lost motivation along the way? I've been living in Montreal for 2 years now, and I still cannot order a croissant without sounding like a complete idiot. I've tried so many times to learn how to code, but I always give up a few weeks in because I get stuck on some concept that just does not make sense to me. I'm actually kind of embarrassed how many times I've tried to learn things and ended up failing at it. But ChatGPT changes everything. It's like having your own personal tutor who can teach you whatever you want, whenever you want, and for free. And the best part is you can use it to learn just about any skill or subject that you want to. I tested it out for myself. Let me show you how to do it. And to illustrate the process, I'm going to show you what that looks like for 2 different examples. So for learning French and for learning coding. But keep in mind, you can take what you learn in this video and apply it to just about anything you might want to learn with ChatGPT. Method number 1 is to create a personalized learning curriculum. So if you've ever tried to learn something and approach it as a beginner, you don't necessarily know what exactly you need to learn. You don't know what you don't know. Luckily, ChatGPT can give you a curriculum, give you direction in how to learn, what to learn, and in what order, and make it in a way that is easy for you as a beginner to learn the things step by step in the best way. So to use ChatGPT to help me learn French, here's what I would do. So in the first part of my prompt, I want to give ChatGPT a role as a teacher specifically for French. So you are a French teacher. Next, I want to tell ChatGPT my current level of French, my learning goals, and any preferences I have for learning styles. Now, this can vary depending on what you're learning, but let me show you an example of what that full prompt would look like. So you are a French teacher. I'm a beginner in French, and I want to learn how to speak and write basic sentences for everyday situations. I'm a visual and auditory learner, and I like to learn through stories, conversations, and quizzes. I have 30 minutes a day to dedicate to learning French. So let's try that by itself and see if it generates us a good curriculum. Otherwise, I might have to specify. With that prompt by itself, ChatGPT is going straight into teaching me right from the beginning. So it's not generating me that curriculum I wanted. But if I wanted to just get started right now, I could go through and it's given me some phrases to learn, some short conversations to learn about, some grammar tips, and a quiz and some homework for me to do at the end. And I could go and do that and come back again tomorrow and ask it, okay, what is today's lesson? And then go and repeat that. But I do want to have a better feel for what my learning process is going to be over a longer time frame. So I've gone and asked it to create a learning curriculum for me for the next month. So it's given me day 1 is the learning greetings and basic phrases that we covered in the first output, day 2, day 3, day 4, progressing my learning process. And then it does that for the following 3 weeks. If I wanted it to give me some extra resources, I can ask it to give me some of those. So I've asked it, can you recommend some good reading resources? And it's given me a bunch of different answers with different categories and some specific books and resources I can use to further my learning on my own time. Changing track a bit, let's see what that looks like for another skill like learning to code in Python. Again, we want to follow these same steps. So first we want to assign ChatGPT a role. In this case, I would pick as a coding instructor. So you are a coding instructor proficient in Python. Next, I want to tell ChatGPT my current level in Python coding, my learning goals, and my preferred learning styles. So the prompt that I use here is you're a coding instructor proficient in Python. I'm a beginner in Python and I want to learn how to write basic programs for data analysis and web development. I like to learn through doing, experimenting, and solving problems. I have 1 hour a day to dedicate to learning Python, create a learning curriculum for the next month. Based on this criteria, ChatGPT is going to generate me a personalized curriculum for learning Python tailored towards my specific needs. So it's going to give me the skills and topics I'm going to learn in the first week, and then some tasks. So write a basic program to manage a grocery list using variables, data structures, control flow, and functions. So it's giving me not only things to learn, it's giving me projects and tasks to practice what I learned, because I did say that I like to learn through doing experiments and solving problems. Method number 2 is to make ChatGPT your personal tutor. Now, this is really useful for long-term learning projects and also short-term ones when you want to learn something deeper, get a complex topic explained to you in a simple, easy to understand manner, and you can use it to clarify your understanding of the things that you're already learning. Even if it explains something to you once and you don't get it right away, you can ask it to clarify or explain it with examples or explain it in a simpler way to make that easier for you. So for French, If you've already started by getting ChatGPT to generate you a curriculum, you've already assigned it the role of your French tutor or teacher, then you can simply go in and start asking it questions and it's going to answer you. But if you haven't done that already and you just want to start from scratch and get it to be your personal tutor, here's the prompt you would use to get that. So for me, I am learning French at the A1 level. You are my French tutor. And then you can follow that with any questions that you want. So can you explain the past tense verb conjugations for avoir? After its initial response, if something is not clear to you, you can ask it to clarify or explain it in a simpler way. With each prompt, you don't have to reassign ChatGPT its roles or your level. It already knows that. So you can just go ahead and keep asking questions. So I might ask questions like, what is the difference between masculine and feminine nouns in French? How do I conjugate verbs in the present tense? Or what are some common expressions and idioms in French? For learning to code, here's the prompt that I would use to achieve the same thing. So I am a beginner learning how to code in Python. You are my programming tutor. And then ask your question. So what is a variable in Python? Same rules apply. You can ask it to clarify, explain something deeper, or continue on with more questions. So I might ask something like, how do I write a function in Python? Or what are some common libraries in Python that I could use? One trick that I use all the time is to ask ChatGPT to explain it like I'm a 5th grader or explain it like I'm 5. This is really, really useful for complex topics that may be hard to understand. I use this all the time for complicated financial terms that I don't quite understand. So for example, I've asked it, can you explain what are negative real rates? Explain it like I'm a 5th grader, because I've had this explained to me 1,000 times and it never sticks because it's just kind of complicated. Then I have some more questions and I want to clarify if I understand, and I ask it a couple of different follow-up questions and it explained it really, really well. So hot tip, keep that one in your back pocket. It's going to make your life so much easier when you're learning. Method number 3 is test yourself mode. Now, ChatGPT can help you test your knowledge as you're learning to see if you have a good grasp on it and see if you're ready to go on to the next stage. So if I want to test my knowledge on a topic in French, I simply go back into one of my conversations with my French tutor version of ChatGPT and I ask it to make me a quiz on whatever I want. If I don't have ideas, I can simply ask it. This is easy to do if you are following in the conversation with your curriculum. So if I'm on day 1 of my curriculum, I can ask it, give me a quiz or a test on the topics that I learned about today. But if I want to do something more specific, I'd simply put in my question. So make me a quiz on the numbers from 1 to 100 in French. Then I can write down my answers, paste it into ChatGPT, and it can grade me and give me feedback on how well I did. Same goes if I'm learning code. I can go back into a conversation with my coding tutor version of ChatGPT and simply type in a question. So let's create a challenge where I have to write a program that calculates the factorial of a number in Python. So it's going to give me a challenge. Some other examples I might come up with is make me a quiz on the basic syntax of Python, or give me an exercise on how to use loops. And it's going to give me an exercise or a quiz or a test so I can test that I actually know the things that it's taught me. It's going to tell me where I went right, where I went wrong, and highlight any mistakes that I made. If I'm unclear on why something didn't work in my code and I don't understand ChatGPT's explanation, I can simply ask it to elaborate on that or explain it in more detail as if I am a 5th grader. Method number 4 is for practice and exercises. Now, depending on what you're learning, this is going to look a little bit different, but there's a lot of different ways ChatGPT can help you with this. So it can generate things like exercises, projects, or in the case of language learning, you can use it as a study buddy or conversation partner so you can practice what you've learned. This is really great for me because the part where I have to go and practice French with other people while I am just learning and where I'm bad at it, I tend to avoid that and I don't practice and then I never get better. But knowing that I can practice with the robot who's not going to judge me is really a game changer for me, and it helps get me unstuck so I actually do the practice I need to do in order to learn. So if I want to practice my French conversation skills with ChatGPT, here's what I would do. I'm learning French and I want to practice my conversation skills. Let's have a conversation in French. I also want you to correct any mistakes I make and explain it in English. So ChatGPT goes ahead right away and starts a conversation. Bonjour, comment ça va aujourd'hui? And then now it's your turn to respond in French. So I say, allô, ça va bien et tu? And then it responds and continues the conversation by asking me another question in response. If I wanted to practice something else more specific, a couple of the prompts I could try are, let's talk about our hobbies and interests in French, Or pretend you are a waiter in a French restaurant and I am a customer. Take my order in French. So there's lots of ways you can use this to practice very specific things and work on your weaknesses to make them strengths. The ability to use ChatGPT to generate you projects and assignments for learning to code is particularly useful in this domain because everybody says with code that the best way to learn is to build things. And this is also what has held me back personally from learning, because as a beginner, I don't really know what I can build with code. I don't know what projects are beginner friendly enough for me and which ones aren't. So I never know where to start, and then it just never happens. But because ChatGPT can help me with this, that's going to give me some ideas to choose from so I can actually start building things and actually start learning. So for example, if I don't know what kind of project I should do at this stage in my learning, I can just ask it. So give me a list of fun and easy projects I could pick from as a project to test my current skill and knowledge level. So this is perfect because now here's a list of 10 things that I could pick from. Choose one. Let's go with this hangman game one, and we'll ask it to generate me a project or assignment so I can practice my knowledge and skills with what I've learned. So I like number 11. Can you generate me an assignment for this? It's going to elaborate a bit and tell me what I need to do. What are the requirements for passing with this assignment? And as a beginner, I wouldn't know exactly what I'm looking at, what I should be thinking of when designing a project, and this is giving me a list of things to consider when I'm doing that that's going to point me in the right direction. So as I work through this project, I can ask ChatGPT for help, and it will give me hints and resources if I get stuck. And once I'm done, I can submit my code and ask ChatGPT for a review. It's going to critique my work, give me feedback and suggestions for improvement. And this is just mind-blowing to me. This is a complete game changer, and I'm really excited to actually start using this to go through it to learn some new things that I've struggled for years with to learn. I'm curious what you guys think about using ChatGPT for learning. Have you used it at all? Have you gotten it to outline a curriculum that you've been following? Has it been working? Are you learning things better now than you were before? Now, I've just started using this and outlining a process for me to learn things like French and coding. So I'm going to see how that goes over the next couple of months and see if it actually helps me achieve my goals that I haven't been able to achieve on my own before. And I will update you guys on how that went. But for now, if you want to improve your prompting strategy overall to get better results with ChatGPT than like 98% of other people, then you can grab this free AI prompts cheat sheet down in the link below. It's going to help you structure really useful prompts and give you lots of examples of what you can use it for. But for now, watch this video next to get my top 6 tips for turning ChatGPT into your personal writing assistant that will help you massively improve your writing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.